And there you go. Hello, friends, patriots. Welcome to SBG News. I'm Robert Imbriali. I'll be here as your co-host, and we got a great co-host with me today. Louis Herms is with us. He's back and in the saddle, ready to go. I had to share that clip with Viva Frei with you guys. Viva is a lawyer, obviously, from Montreal. We have a lot in common back there, and it's the way he doesn't mince words, right? This is a steaming pile of poop is really what this court case is coming out of Colorado. Kind of interesting, though. It broke yesterday and last night, as the show was ending yesterday. I think that was breaking, and then everyone went crazy with it. And that's sort of the news of today. I have a different take on it. Viva has one take on it. He's sort of suggesting that they're doing this to get us angry and to incite some sort of civil disorder, civil unrest, that kind of thing. That's one possibility. I think there's something else going on here. We're going to talk about it today, and Louis and I have probably a lot of commentary on this. So let me bring in my buddy Louis. Hey, Louis, how you doing?
All right. How you doing, Robert?
Good to see you. You had a busy last week traveling around, and now you're back at home and ready to tackle the nonsense of this world.
I'm ready to tackle a pillowcase, and sheets and blankets is what I'm ready to tackle.
So what do you think about Viva Frei's take that this might be something to kick off some civil unrest here in this country?
Well, I think they can do that with anything that they're doing right now. I mean, I think that's probably, if that's not their primary goal, I certainly would agree with them that it would be an underlying goal with what the deep state is doing, because the deep state needs a few things in order to win, because that would give them the opportunity to demonize patriots. If a couple of patriots took out some leaders, and that would give the deep state opportunity to see how radical we are, so on and so forth. What I would disagree with Viva is when he characterized J6ers as possibly to antagonize them to do something stupid, and that they did, because that is a bad characterization from Viva, in my opinion, because right. that was a setup. Those were FBI Antifa agents. It's very clear now. It wasn't a bunch of, quote, stupid patriots doing stupid stuff.
They were inciting. They were trying to get them to get angry, and that didn't happen.
They were. And in full disclosure, because I was there in the heat of it, some did get angry, and some would do stupid stuff because they get fired up, right? But I've never told anybody this, but I helped start a chant there with my wife. Although I don't think she was chanting; she was probably just shaking her head at me, going, "Oh my God, Louis!" And I was saying, "Whose house? Our house. Whose house? Our house. Whose house? Our house." So people understood that this is the people's house, and we, the people, hold all the power. And it didn't result in it that time, but yes, it may result in the people overpowering an institution when they feel like it gets to that point. I'm hoping the whole problem would be solved before we got to that point, frankly. But we met a lot of patriots there, and they were very, very composed, extraordinarily composed. So my hat's off to the J6ers that didn't do something stupid, which is almost 2 million of them, because it was a very emotional day for everybody.
It certainly was, and not having been there and watching it on television, watching it unfold, you could feel the emotion, the heated emotions too. And it's like, because it was like, we didn't really know at that moment what was going on, because the way it was being reported on television was, it's all the Trump supporters and they're rioting, and they were immediately calling it insurrection. I think even that day they were starting to call it that. And, it turned out that really wasn't what was happening, but you wouldn't have known that if you watch mainstream media, because that's the narrative that they were putting out there. It's almost like, forgive me for saying this, Louis, but it's almost as if like maybe they had a plan or something. Maybe there was a blueprint that they were following,
Robert, I think it's unfortunately you're such a conspiracy theorist.
That's sad, isn't it? Jam.
I don't see it happening.
Craziness, craziness, craziness. Hey, as we get rolling here, I just want to let you guys know to go over to screwbiggov.com if you haven't already been. Go there. You can watch Cages, the documentary. Most of you have seen it by now. Maybe worth a refresher. It's been a while. Maybe you need to watch it again. RememberYourOath.com is also there, and this is very important, especially these times that we're entering now. We want to hold these people's feet to the fire and also celebrate the ones who are upholding their oath and doing the right thing. We want to make sure that we highlight them and give them a little bit of spotlight as well, because there are a lot of them out there who are doing the right thing. Then there are some that aren't, and those are the ones that kind of get the most press these days. But let's work on the other side. Let's really push the ones who are doing the right thing. Also, there's swag, the button down the bottom center there, and the other button is a social media button, and that is the one you would use to find Lewis on Telegram, because a lot of spoof accounts out there. Hard to find the actual Screw Big Gov account on Telegram. Well worth following, by the way.
True.
Well, you're not going to argue with that. It's your channel, and you're the one who does a great job of actually responding to people's comments and questions, which I think is phenomenal, because people really, I think they respect us a little bit because we have more of a dialogue than a monologue with the audience, right? So a monologue is just we're putting it out there, and we never look at comments. I think you and I both have the habit of looking at pretty much as many of the comments as we can possibly look at, including emails and so on and so forth, and the comments on Rumble as well. I go back normally and and look through the comments in the chat as well to see where people are. And that's rare today. I think a lot of people still have the idea of, it's the monologue, I'm the expert, I'm the big guy with the ego, and they don't care about the listener, the viewer. Not us. Not you, Lewis.
Yeah. Nope. I agree. In fact, it's we're all on the same battlefield. We the people, we're all fighting the good fight. So why would I not talk to anybody? And I'll certainly give my opinion, whether they like it or not. But I mean, I honor them with being in the fight, and any questions, or as long as I can get to them, I do my best to go through my chat daily and respond to anything that's there. And that's just the right thing to do. It's my opinion. Maybe I have a different value set than some other truthers. I don't know.
No, we've got the same value set, and I think that's what sets this show apart, and it's why we get the comments that we get, and people really love the work that we're doing, and the fact that they can reach out, and there's a lot of them that do. They share a lot of content with us, and boy, we sort through a lot of stuff to put these shows together. Fun though, always fun. All right, so what happened yesterday? Let's go back in time a little bit and let's see what happened in Colorado, because this was kind of the big story that blew up. According to the ruling in Colorado, in this appeal from a district court proceeding under the Colorado Election Code, the Supreme Court considers whether former President Donald J. Trump may appear on the Colorado Republican presidential primary ballot in 2024. A majority of the court holds that President Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. Now, they say because he is disqualified, it would be wrongful for the Colorado Secretary of State to list him as a candidate on the presidential primary ballot. The court says it stays its own ruling, as Viva talked about there, until January 4th, 2024, subject to further appellate proceedings. And Kari Lake says in an unprecedented decision, partisan judges on the Colorado SCOTUS just removed the leading presidential candidate from the ballot, overturning over a century of judicial precedent. Overrule. Yeah, I think I'm with a lot of people on this one, Lewis. If this gets to the Supreme Court, it goes nowhere. It gets overturned instantly.
Yeah, I from what I've been told, they already looked at it. So we'll see. We'll see when they've officially looked at it, I should say, and then they'll do the ruling. That being said, I find what is the real justification for it? Think about this. They say insurrection. Okay, in order to determine insurrection, do you not have to go through a proceeding? Do you not have to go through a trial? You can't just say, "Oh, it looks like it's insurrection."
Yep.
Am I missing something here?
Well, if it was insurrection, you don't think Jack Smith would have been all over that?
Of
Right.
course.
And he did nothing. He didn't charge him with it. He didn't even accuse him of it. Nobody did. And, to be accused of insurrection, you have to be charged with insurrection, which he wasn't.
Yeah. So he's not been accused officially.
Right.
He's not been charged officially, and he hasn't lost a case with insurrection officially. Yet four whacked out Marxist globalist judges say you're an insurrectionist, therefore we're going to pull you off the ballot. So they can now make the determination. The reason why I'm setting the stage for everybody to understand. So the judges now can make the determination to bypass all laws, bypass all due process, and just say, because we said so, it is true. And I think that's the bigger story here, because it's partisan politics. We kind of knew it was happening. And yes, I believe that the Supreme Court will say this is hogwash. But I don't think it's going to go anywhere. So what's the underlying story, which I believe is the biggest story? And the biggest story is they're setting a precedence that we the people, which we know this is the way they thought forever, but they're literally saying publicly, you and we the people don't matter. We run the law, we determine the law, we do the indictments. Due process is not necessary anymore. So if this were to win, it would be a lot bigger than just taking Trump off in one state. It would set a precedence that the judges are complete control of the United States.
It would.
That's just my point of view.
Well, and you're accurate, because our story coming up, it's already started to bleed into other states now. Now that this ruling came out, and other states are trying to do the same thing. So there's 6, 7 other states that are lining up now to try and get him off the ballot, including this lovely state that we happen to live in, right? Yeah, so the question
Kamala
that I would
and
have,
her best friend, I think the Attorney General, are working on that, right?
Yeah.
He's crazy.
So the question I have here is, yesterday's show was all about the tsunami at the border that was dominating the news everywhere. They saw that. They didn't want that dominating the news. So what do? They pull this out of the hat to do what now? This is dominating the news now, the Colorado ruling. And I can't find very much at all about what's going on in Eagle Pass, Texas. I can't find much at all that's going on in Lukeville, Arizona. There wasn't that much out there at all about it today. That just didn't stop overnight, but all the reporters' attention got diverted away from it.
So
that were reporting.
2 of the crew that were with us were actually in Lukeville the night before, and then they drove over to where we were on the border yesterday. For you guys that don't know, Screw Big Gov made an appearance at the border because we really wanted to see it, and it wasn't a photo op, because I would already have the pictures out if that's the case. We were actually interviewing, working, talking to contractors, taking pictures, talking to Border Patrol, believe it or not, dealing with cartel members face to face. I mean, it's crazy stuff going down there. But these guys were at Lukeville, and they said it was a madhouse at night, and pretty much the Border Patrol just threw up their hands. They're like, we don't know what to do, right? And then where we went was just crazy what we saw. But we'll probably go on that more tomorrow.
We could play a little teaser video. You have a little teaser video you shared with us of what may be coming tomorrow. Yeah.
So it's such a sophisticated operation. When we look through the wall where there's not a hole, which is not very much of it, most of it has holes in it. By the wonderful Trump wall, they tend to cut down in 16-foot sections, and there's at least 10 to 15 sections in the small area that we were in. We were up there for a few hours, but in the small area we were in, there were 10 to 15 sections that were cut down, and there's 16 feet holes. One of the holes was 120 feet wide.
Wow.
Where they just said, forget it. I actually have a picture of a gate, and this gate is clearly meant to open. Listen to this, open to the other side to Mexico. It's a gate that's built into the wall that they can open anytime they want to. And who knows what type of vehicles can go through that. Very interesting. Now, maybe, just maybe, that those are there for we can easily get into that country and do something. I don't know. All I know is that they exist, but just the holes in the wall and the gaps and everything else, it's crazy. And so people are just pouring through, no big deal. And the cartel's monitoring everything. We see the cartel on the other side. They've got snipers out there. Um, it's very sophisticated. So many of the openings in the wall, you know what you see on the other side in Mexico? You see roads that are completely ready to go, manicured, so you can drive buses up and just drop them off and have them come across the border if you choose.
Well, you see that too when they're coming across the border. They're not all disheveled and everything. They're all well dressed and cleaned and recently showered, and they look like they've just got off the bus or got off a plane.
Many of them really nice shoes,
Yeah,
really nice
yeah.
clothes, well fed. Um, but the cartel's getting their share. We interviewed a lot, and I talked to them, and they're like, "Yep, about $4,000 we had to give them, $5,000 we had to give them." And the women, well, they weren't giving money. We know what they were giving or not giving. It was being taken from them.
Yeah.
And it's really really sad. So what we did see, which was telling and very emotional for me, is it was 90% fighting age men, most of them in pretty damn good spirits, to be honest with you. And then the few women that we saw were all not in good spirits. They looked emotionally broken, desperate, and afraid. And that tells you what's going on.
Hard to see it. I can't imagine seeing it up close. I mean, we've seen the videos certainly, but I've not seen it up close, and
It's
seeing it
tough.
face to face with is crazy.
I would recommend anybody go there.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you seriously want to see it and you can convince me that you're not looking for a Photoshop and you really want to do good and you can handle yourself with a weapon, um, contact me and maybe we can make some arrangements to get you down there. As long as you publicize this, though, it has to be publicized. That's what the missing issue right now is people just aren't showing it.
Media's not down there. Biden never went. Kamala never
No,
went. Right?
in fact, we can tell you um, a I'm not going to name anybody, but I'll say several senators, several representatives, and several truthers, well-named truthers, committed to going down there, and then they all backed out in the 11th hour.
Oh wow.
They just didn't show. In fact, it was such a big deal that the guy that was taking us down there, Jonathan Alexander from Live Border News, gave me a huge hug at the end. He goes, "Just nobody does this, Lewis. Nobody does this. Thank you so much." He was so pleased that representing Screw Big Gov and this channel and Renegade Media that we would actually do this. He was just thrilled beyond. Now, there was a guy running for governor there that I really, really respect, and I believe he'll be the next governor of Utah. His name's Phil Lyman, and he was down there with me, and we had some really, really great conversations. And he has a lot of guts, right? And the only other senator that I know to go down there was, I think his name's Phil Hart from Idaho, and he's been down there a few times. He's even slept down there. Now, here's a little dirty little secret. I was told, and I'm not sure if this is a rumor, but it looks interesting, that he convinced Idaho to fund half of the border wall. Idaho to fund half the border wall in Arizona, and the Arizona legislature wouldn't even crack open the paper to look at the proposal.
Yep. I did hear that story, so I don't know that it was rumor because it wasn't in the media about a month or so ago.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I like to get some corroboration on that.
Corroboration.
The Arizona political apparatus, guys, is most likely the dirtiest, maybe next to Georgia, in the whole country, and DC, of course. It is just the most disgusting way, and it's all for them. I mean, virtually, I just, even the good ones, I just shake my head. And the sheriffs down there, it's like they're paid off. There's maybe one, maybe two, and we're going to start teaching on how to confront your sheriffs because they do have the power. Just happened to have a very spirited conversation with one of them that was secretly being filmed. I didn't know it. It wasn't a setup. I didn't even know until 2 minutes or so, whatever, till the end that it was even being filmed. But I think I think it's a great example of demonstrating to sheriffs that you don't need to back down. They need to do their job or get the hell out of there. Period. In the store. There's really there's no movement on that for me whatsoever. If you're not going to do your job, you got to go. But it's going to take, and it's going to be successful, guys. I know it. I see it. We, the people, need to stand up in force, and the sheriffs have to be more concerned about us than their paycheck and the cabal. And until that happens, you're not going to see movement. So ultimately, everybody can sit back and complain about the politicians, complain about the sheriffs, but we know, we being this channel and other people I work with, we know that when we, the people, activate, we win.
Right.
So folks watching this, just understand, if you want to complain, that's great. But if you haven't gotten in the face of a sheriff or a politician lately, why complain? Just saying, you're part of the problem.
No, I'm feeling the same way, Louis, because I look at all these guys, and Sheriff Mack was one of them, is just keep getting his emails, and it's always a fundraiser. We need money, we need money, we need money. I'm like, okay, what are you doing? Where's the action step? Where's the arrest? You've had a little bit of challenge there in Maricopa County, you think? We saw the movie 2000 Mules. We saw what happened there. Catherine Engelbrecht and Greg Phillips, they did all the work. They were going to turn over all that information to you. You had it all. You didn't even want it. So it's one of these things. It's like, if we don't hold our feet to the fire, we're supposedly their boss. And if we don't do anything, you know what happens when you have an employee who doesn't do their job and you don't hold their feet to the fire? They get worse and worse and worse. They do less and less and less. They do whatever they can to get to the next paycheck.
You nailed it. But we need to demonstrate that we're their boss. And I got to tell you guys, these conversations I have with these people are not comfortable conversations, because I can tell you, in regards to the CSPOA, I have 3 people that I'm fairly close to that absolutely love the CSPOA. And so when I do this stuff, I'm doing it for we the people, which can possibly hinder my relationships with other people. But it's only because it's the right thing. It's the right thing to do. Right. And I have nothing against the Sheriff Mack and the CSPOA. I just want you, like I told him, is stop acting like Lindsey Graham and let's get something done. And then I said, tell me what we the people have to do. But you got a chance to see the video? I don't know if you could hear it though, right?
Yeah, well, you could hear a lot of it, but there's some areas where there's just so much background noise. And I enhanced the audio, and then we tried to run AI on trying to do some subtitles. It's good. It just needs time to edit it, and time is not a commodity I have much of these days with everything that's going on in my world. Nothing bad, just a lot of stuff to take care of. I just wish I had a little bit more time to do that.
Yeah. And the reason why I asked is because I haven't watched the video, so I have no idea what I even said. I don't remember. I have so many conversations I don't even know what I'm saying.
Yeah. But you said basically what you just said here. You said, listen, I want to see action, and those who are not willing to take the action need to get out of the way.
Yeah. What really set me off in this conversation, and no disrespect to him, because I actually feel like he's at a loss right now, and this is where we the people and can step in and help. The solution was, I need $2.8 million to get 1,000 sheriffs together in a convention, and then that's when I got unhappy. And let's just say that. And then I said, that's not what we're doing.
No. That's more of the same. It's the the political football again. And let's have a meeting. Let's have a discussion. It's all this kind of stuff. It's like, no time for a meeting. Here's the action plan. Go. I'm going to send it to you via email, which costs nothing.
So here's the good news. We have several teams around the nation doing work. We have there's a phenomenal team in Arizona. how do I say it? I honestly think they give me too much credit. They're like, oh, you're the leader, you're this, and I'm not. You know what I mean? And I want to say that they are the leaders because they're the one taking action and doing what they need to do. But they're getting, just so you know, we're going to be demonstrating this. They're getting a win after a win after a win, and they actually have something right now that we're going to be discussing soon that got onto Clarence Thomas' desk with the approval of some generals, which is very, very exciting. And some people would look at these people and go, oh, they're little old ladies. Yeah, guess what? That's who's going to win this war. And I had a talk with a friend of mine who's a and I told him, I said, is you want to do even more? You need to build a foundation of what people would call little old ladies that have passion, and you're going to watch it skyrocket. And we're going to see. Now, here's why this little conversation is important. Every precedence that's set gives somebody else courage to duplicate that precedence. That's why I've been saying forever, one judge needs to step up. One sheriff needs to step up. One legislature needs to step up. You know, whatever it is, and when they're proven successful, then somebody will take a deep breath. They're like, okay, they can do it, I can do it. And then they also have a model built on how to do these things. So I think we're going to see a lot of that, because the good news is I haven't reported on it yet because we're putting it together. I can think of about a half a dozen huge wins just by this one group that are going to blow people away.
Oh, can't wait to hear.
Just this one little group.
Mm-hmm.
So when people see these wins, I believe they're going to be able to duplicate it. And I'm very excited about the future, because I'm noticing, just traveling around and meeting people, we the people are stepping up unprecedentedly than we ever have before. And it's fun to watch.
It is, and you know, there's a lot of learning going on too. I see that in talking to people who are, you know, typically, you know, CNN watchers, MSNBC watchers, and such, and they're learning that they're being bamboozled. And they're not fully there yet, but at least the antennae are starting to come up a little bit, and they go, well, maybe I'm not being told the truth. And it's hard because those people on TV look so professional, and they look like, why would they lie to you? They're telling it in such a way, it's so truthful, it's so honest, and they're congruent, because they truly believe the BS that they're feeding you. Mm-hmm. So it looks like it's the truth, but it's not. It's just, they're just really good at lying, and to the point that, you know, to them it's not lying because they do believe it. And Tucker Carlson, we had the conversation about him, how he was on that side for a large part of his career, and he's really, really come around to, you know, I wasn't a big Tucker fan. Honestly, it's just like, didn't care. You know, when O'Reilly left and Tucker took over, I was like, he just wasn't, you know, up to speed there. He was still too much in the mainstream world for me, so I didn't watch. But he's really come a long way, and you could see the learning in him and the growth in him, and realizing that everything that he'd been fed, because echo chamber, right? He was in the newsroom all the time, all the same people talking about the same thing in the same way. After a while, process of osmosis, right? You start believing that narrative. Now that he's out of there, best thing that could ever happen to him is get booted from Fox. Now you see tremendous growth in him, and you saw it at the event this week.
Yeah, I can't dispute anything you said. Yeah. I'm seeing it. And I mean, if anybody just wants to, and I'm not a huge Tucker fan either, because I know what his background is. I was concerned about controlled opposition, and somebody asked me about him over the last couple of days, and I said, you know what we need to start looking at, guys? I think we need to look at the fruits of their current labor. I said, so we can keep looking in the past and we can demonize everybody. But I do believe that the white hats are involved, and they have come to several people and they said, you have a choice. You know, okay, so you haven't touched kids, therefore you have a chance. You need to do this, this, and this. Are you in or are you out? And maybe they'll be held account in the future. I don't know. And like somebody just said is they're probably saving their ass. And yeah, but that's okay right now, because we need this information to get out there. And I would actually compel people to watch Tucker's last speech at AmFest It was very interesting, and he's coming around. He does not look like the same person he looked like before, in more ways than one, if you know what I mean.
Hint,
Um,
hint. There's a
yeah, but
conspiracy for you there, guys.
uh, oh, yeah, I need to wake up.
Well, like we're starting to see the
Here's a
youth.
shameless plug. I just sprayed Numi skin on my face to wake my butt up.
Ah, does it work for that? I've never tried it for waking up. Always tried
Well,
it to kind
yeah,
of refresh.
it does. It's definitely refreshing. You know what I mean? So, and the glutathione's working. And hey, like I always say, I'm 124, but I look 84, so it's doing something.
Lightens the skin, tightens the skin. It's a great product, Numi Skin. I use it too. I'm not normally one to spray stuff on my face, but this is good. I like this stuff a lot. It's a glutathione product, nanoparticleized glutathione, by the way, and it gets into the skin. And you should see on their website, if you go to their website, you'll see the before and after pictures are like night and day. And the owner of the company wanted to see just how good this product was, so he sprayed one of his hands and not the other. And it doesn't look like the same person. The hands are just so different. It's amazing.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
His son actually tried to get him to do it to his face, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to do that."
Just do half your face. Come on.
Right? That's what he said. He said, "Do your half your face for 1 month, and let's take pictures." He goes, he said, "I'll make a deal. I'll do one hand." He goes, "Okay."
And it worked. It was really great to see. And they also have a new product out for the ladies, Numi Hers, right? And a lot of ladies are saying this is really helping them with that time of the month. And for our menopausal women, it's helping them with the hot flashes. Actually, there's one lady who said that as soon as the hot flash starts, she takes some of that and it stops it within 10 minutes, which is
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I've heard that a couple times.
Yep.
I think it's really helping the guys too. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. It helps with libido. No question. Want to find out more? Go to lherms.numi.com. There is the QR code you can scan. Find out more about it. They have a December special on right now. Certainly worthwhile checking out. So we're both big fans, and we do not promote things that we don't use and love. And that is how we support the show. So thank you for everyone who is a supporter and using Numi and buying from our links. We really, really, really appreciate it. Keeps the lights on in here, and I got a lot of lights in this room.
And guys, so you know how cool Robert is. I had no intention of spraying this on my face today. I was just feeling a little bit tired, and I'm like, maybe this will help. And Robert just picks up and runs with it, right? And he had the link available to show you also. You were a smooth cat, Robert.
Hey, I've been doing this a while, so.
That was awesome. All right, so back to the news.
Back to the news. All right, let's see what Turley had to say about this. Good points he makes.
Yeah, well, it is a major slippery slope, and I'm loving, and of course this presumably could be a white hat operation. In this case, I think we over talk about that, though. Not we, but just the Patriot community. Like everything's a white hat operation. Like, yeah, well, go to the border. Anyways, in regards to this, though, is maybe it is. Maybe they're pushing all these ridiculously overwhelming Marxist takeover rules and laws and ideas to wake us up. I can believe that happening because I can't sit back and really believe that the Democrats are this stupid to take everything as far as they are unless they're being motivated to do so for part of the awakening. What's your thought on that?
I could see that happening because I think there's a general frustration. I was going to say malaise, but I think frustration is a better word in the fact that there's still so many, as your lovely wife puts it, drowsy people. They're not quite there yet. They're not quite awake. And you really have to take it sometimes to the extreme before you wake them up. And maybe that's what's really going on here. I mean, that ruling against Giuliani for $148 million because he defamed the two people who were fraudulently running ballots through in the middle of the night. $148 million. Then they came back yesterday and sued him again.
I know.
He was just laughing at it. He says, this is so ridiculous. And maybe the ridiculous is what's needed to wake up the rest of them.
Well,
Maybe.
and people really don't understand the law. How can you defame somebody that's guilty of doing something,
Correct.
right? So it's they again put the cart before the horse. Same thing with the Dominion lawsuit against Fox News. Same thing was the lawsuit um, about Sandy Hook against Alex Jones. What they all three have in common is this is lawfare at the epitome, because if you're going to okay, now by the way, I believe that the Alex Jones and the Fox News one was a controlled operation anyways, right? Opposition or operation.
Yeah.
So don't look at the outcome, but look at what actually happened. Fox News was sued by Dominion for, in essence, again, we're jumping horse. Oh wait, what else does this sound like? Do you are you guys starting to put the things together? Are you starting to see the parallel? In Colorado, what just happened? Trump is an insurrectionist without going through due process or being able to defend himself, and therefore they're pulling him off the ballot in Colorado. It all correlates together. And I can tell you because I read and I did a video on the 87-page lawsuit where Mike Lindell sued Dominion. And I can tell you it's lawfare, 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 lawfare. And that's what they're doing. And it is scary. I got sued by a cabal company one time, my business, that didn't even know it was coming. The first set of papers I got from them were 18 inches tall lawsuit.
Wow.
18 inches tall. They had hundreds of millions of dollars. Myself and my partners barely had anything. Guess what we won? First one ever to win against them because we were willing to go the whole way. But in full disclosure, you know what it did? It virtually bankrupted us, cost us a lot of money. It gave one of our partners a heart attack, and he ended up quitting. And the other one just said, "I'm done with this," and he ended up retiring. And I was left with the bag after that. So the point being is, even a win is a loss, and they do everything to tear you down. And this is when I say that we need to remove 90% of the infrastructure in every single country that we have now moving forward. Because if we do not, we will not win this. We need 10% of our government, 10% of the laws that are on the books. Everything should be approximately 10% across the board. When we do that, we will take our country back because we, the people, will hold the power to make conscious, godly decisions and not count on somebody else to do the dictating.
Well, we keep thinking that we could take the head off the fish, right? Who the controllers are, but it seems like it's more than just one person. You could say it's Schwab, you could say it's Rothschild, you could say, but it's bigger than that, isn't it? There's whole organizations that are behind it all.
Well, I would equate, if anybody understands the myth of a hydra, is it a myth? I don't know. There's actually a real hydra, by the way, in the ocean. You cut off its head and it regrows a head. But the myth of the hydra is you cut off one head and two grow back. And in essence, I think this is the scrambling that the good guys are doing right now. You're cutting the heads off of the hydra, and then multiple grow back. They may not be as powerful, but you get two for one, and now it's scrambling time. Okay, let's figure this out. How do we fight against this? So there's a lot of chasing our tail, and this is why I truly believe that President Trump, you can say Q, whatever you guys want to believe in, it's all indicating one thing if we really, really pay attention. It's we the people. Without we the people, this is not gonna do its work. God does win, but God has tasked us to be the soldiers in this spiritual war. And with us, we will win. Because imagine if I'm even close to being right, you cut off one head and two grow back, and it keeps coming up and up and up and up. How are a so-called white hat and military operation really going to be able to handle it? Trump has been pleading, we the people must get involved. And we've been screaming here for 4 years now, the micro will fix the macro. And I'm seeing it happen now, and I just hope more people get involved. I really, really do. Guys, it's the legacy that you're leaving for generations to come that is so extraordinarily important.
Yeah, and I think, Lewis, as more and more people see the micro movements starting to have impact, they're going to get involved. We talked about that. You have an employee that's not performing, and all of a sudden you bring in a new one who does perform, and the one that's not performing starts performing again, right? Because we all look at what other people are doing, and we start to see, hey, we're having an impact. We're having an impact. Well, I want to have an impact too, and more people will jump in. And I think we're still in that situation where there's not enough of what can I do. There's not enough answers there yet. Beating them, gonna win, right?
Yep. I've met probably a dozen people running for office over the last couple of days. And obviously because we have a platform that are appealing for our support and so on and so forth. But I asked a lot of tough questions in regards to that. The challenge I'm seeing, and again back to my wife's description, is many of the people running for office are drowsy. They really are. The good news is 2 years ago, if I talked to them, that's a no-brainer. Will we even have the election? No, I'm still not thinking we will. And I know I'm starting, the closer we get to the 2024 election, the smaller my island seems to get. People are jumping off my island, and they're thinking there will be a 2024 election. I still think there's a lot that's going to happen before then. But let's go on the assumption that there is. I have somebody that's a friend of mine that's very prominent in this movement, believes that we should not be voting. And the reason why I would counter that argument is if we do not vote, guess what's going to happen? The Democrats / rhinos, whoever you want to call them, will automatically get in every single office in the United States. And guess what they're going to do immediately? They're going to self-audit, and not self-audit. They will bring out independent conservatives to audit to prove that they are legit, and they've always been legit. So the challenge with not voting is you literally hand it over forever, our country to the deep state. Because now the narrative will be, look at, there's an audit, it's fair, we want everything. Nobody wants you conservatives anymore, right? So we have to, because you need to overwhelm the system. And Donald Trump got elected in 2016 because he overwhelmed the system. In 2020, there wouldn't even be a conversation if we didn't overwhelm the system, right? So we have to continue to do this. And I know it seems monotonous, and I know I don't want to, trust me. But let's look at the micro. There are phenomenal people in local elections now, and I've met so many of them over the last few months that really are going to make a difference. So we just have to keep pushing forward for now. I do believe that we're going to have some type of military intervention, though, to take down the infrastructures and to protect the integrity of our elections. Although I believe without reform, there is no integrity.
Well, that's a question I keep asking. It's like, okay, so the military, their directive is to protect us from enemies, foreign and domestic, right? To protect the borders from invasion. We have invasion, massive invasion, right? I really don't know how you could call it anything but, according to Michael Yon, we haven't seen anything yet. There's many, many, many more coming. And apparently there's going to be a big influx on Christmas Day, when we're all focused elsewhere. We're not paying attention to what's going on at the border, right? Mm-hmm. So we have this invasion, historic numbers this week alone. Am I wrong in wondering where they are?
No, it's scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. It's a scary situation, and this is why I don't like to rely on the whole white hat narrative controlling everything. Because what if that's a psyop? Uh-oh. We just let everybody come in our border and take us over.
Yeah, well, I don't know how that would play into the white hat plan, but yeah.
Well, they're saying, and the narrative now is these are all good people that are going to be working for our military and supporting us and yada yada yada
Why
yada
would
yada.
they? What's the motivation? The motivation isn't that.
Why take a chance?
Yeah,
People just take back your borders, take back your country,
yeah.
go into all your local establishments and take them back. It's we the people run this country. It's it is so simple. It annoys me that we still get pushed back. So here's a great example. So a wonderful chat member here just said, I know so many people really want to do something, but simply don't know how to start. I forwarded the rememberyouroath.com link to so many people, but I can't make them act on it. So I would contend that they don't really want to help then, because there's no simpler place to start than just put your email address at rememberyouroath.com. It's literally that simple. And the app is coming out now. So the app's going to be there. There's nothing else. So I would contend that they say they want to help, but that's just hyperbole. Just like all these people that say they want to go to the border to check, and then they back out at the last second. There's a lot of bluster out there, folks. And I would recommend, if these are your friends, you hold their feet to the fire and say, well, you say you want to help, but you haven't even gone there. Come on, please.
Pay attention.
And sometimes you have to have those hard conversations. But I will say I appreciate you, MZT Blue, going out there, putting yourself out there and promoting that, because that's a lot more than most people do.
Yep. No question. So California. Here we are, Lewis. California Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis demands Secretary of State Shirley Weber explore every legal option to remove former President Donald Trump from California's 2024 presidential primary ballot. And she's basing this based on Colorado Supreme Court's ruling in Anderson versus Griswold. Can't make that up. Griswold this time of year? I urge you to explore every legal option to remove former President Donald Trump from California's 2024 ballot. Should we laugh at the Griswold thing? Because that's kind of funny.
Yeah, good call on that one.
Yeah.
So she's a friend of Kamala Harris's, by the way.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So just, I know it's just a coincidence, I'm sure.
So the Democrats have done this before. They've actually removed a Republican from the ballot. You know this, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've some. I didn't know this. It's, of course, I didn't grow up in the United States. Learned American history. I did not. I learned Canadian history. So this is from the Gateway Pundit. They pushed this up today. As Randy DeSoto reported at Western Journal back in November, the last time Democrats pulled such a stunt was in the presidential election of 1860, when Republican nominee Abraham Lincoln's name did not appear on most southern states' ballots. Abraham Lincoln was still able to win the election with a plurality of the popular vote in the rest of the country. The Democratic plot failed. Following the Civil War, Republicans passed the 14th Amendment in 1868 to guarantee the newly freed slaves equal protection under the law. 94% of Republicans voted for the amendment. 100% of Democrats voted no on the amendment. Section 3 of the amendment made it unlawful for those who took an oath of office to support the Constitution of the United States and then engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same to hold federal office unless Congress, by a 2/3 vote, votes to remove this disability.
Can you imagine that conversation that you're having right now got me shadow banned on Twitter a few years ago?
Wow.
That conversation.
Wow.
So I was getting, on average, with whatever following I had, I was getting about 1,100 impressions on anything I put out within the first 20 minutes. After I put out that and proved the Democrats were no rhetoric, no harsh words, just literal factoids, I went from 1,100 impressions in 20 minutes to 60 impressions in 20 minutes.
Wow.
1100 to 60 complete shadow banning.
Yep.
And I would say to people it's a lot worse to get shadow banned than get your account deleted because you have nobody to appeal to, nobody believes you, you're still on their platform. It's a lot worse. At least you can be martyred if you're deleted off an account, right?
Well, it's a
That
badge of
doesn't
honor. Look, my YouTube
that,
account got deleted.
that doesn't happen if you're shadow banned,
Yep.
trust me.
No, it
Was
doesn't.
very
And you don't know what's going on either. And you think it's you. This is what happened to me on YouTube. It's like, hundreds of views. Next video, 0. I'm like, ah, crap, I did something wrong. Make another video, put it up, 0. It really has to be me, right?
Yep.
Nope.
And I didn't really figure it out until my wife, who's laying next to me in bed, I posted and I said, "Hey, read my post." I don't see it.
Mm.
Oh, and she goes, "I always get your post. I don't see it.
Where's
I
your
don't see it."
post?
I'm like,
Where's your post?
so then I sent it to a lot of people. Hey, check it out. Check it out. Nobody was seeing it. And then I ran the numbers. I'm like, oh my Lord, look what they did. And they laugh at you. Shadow ban. What's that?
Yeah. Well, because the algorithms are proprietary, so you can't see the algorithm. You don't know what's going on. All these companies are like this. That algorithm is their gold, and they show it to nobody. So you really can't prove one way or another whether or not you're shadow banned. How could I prove it on YouTube that I was shadow banned? I got no views. Oh, maybe you put a bad video up. You know what I mean? That's what people will tell you.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They're really sophisticated.
They are. Well, they know more. I think the statement was Facebook knows more about you than your wife.
Yeah, not my Facebook.
Not my Facebook. Not my Facebook. So we reported on Sunday. I'd posted this on Telegram, and it made people very angry that this Confederate memorial in Arlington Cemetery was going to be removed. And then Monday we said, hey, there's good news. The judge stayed the order, and it's like it was going to hang off. So U.S. District Judge Rossi Alston issued a temporary injunction on Monday after receiving an urgent phone call from the memorial supporters saying that grave sites were being desecrated as contractors began work to remove this memorial. But as he toured the site, he saw it being treated respectfully and allowed the Confederate memorial to be removed on Tuesday. He said, I saw no desecration of any graves. The grass wasn't even disturbed. He released an 18-page opinion to lift the injunction and said the allegations that removal efforts amounted to grave desecration were at best ill-informed and at worst inaccurate. So it's gone. I took it down today.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Our history's disappearing. They don't want the history around.
They don't.
Can't have that.
They don't. So Michael Yon posted this up today, and I don't know if you're going to be able to read it, but I'll read it for you here. Colombia will allow 41 countries visa-free airport transit, including Iran and Yemen and most African countries. This translates to a red carpet being laid to cross the Darien Gap in Panama. The world can transit Darien and come right into the USA now.
Okay. So I just happen to know this firsthand because I just interviewed some people on the border yesterday. Mm-hmm. So your timing with this is really cool. So I talked to these people from Chad, and they flew into Turkey. From Turkey, I believe they went directly to Colombia.
There it is. Yep.
And Colombia was giving them a free pass to wherever they wanted, which was El Salvador and Nicaragua. And from there, they would take go down to the Darien Gap and enter into the United States past the Panama Canal. Oh, go figure. How's that work? Colombia is a big part of this. So it's very interesting that you brought it up because let's picture a railroad and it goes to a switching station, right? That switching station is Colombia right now. And I would have a feeling if they're doing it, they're probably getting something financial out of it also.
Michael Yon went further, and he said the United States is coordinating it all.
The State Department and the White House is coordinating it all, right?
So it is coordinated by us. Obviously,
don't say us. I reject them. Don't say us.
Yeah, well, this world that we live in, this little box that we're living in. Then, all right. So Yeah. So he's the one who's been saying that Christmas Day is going to be quite the avalanche because he's seeing so many people coming up through there. So he calls himself being upstream because he's down the Darien Gap seeing the mass of people, biggest he's ever seen, headed for the United States.
Well, and let's talk about the political games that are being done. So everybody's very excited about Greg Abbott, and he just signed in and saying that the police are now going to be arresting and deporting illegal so
Yeah, starting in March.
Yeah. So exactly. And then this is the game. This is the game that they play. So we have to understand the games. Greg Abbott's a piece of shit. I know I just offended everybody. I don't give a damn. I'm just calling a spade. Okay? Greg Abbott does nothing until he gets pressured to do something.
Right.
And then he is a publicist extraordinaire where everybody knows the great work that the great Greg Abbott is doing.
So you're saying he's a politician?
He's disgusting.
Yeah.
He's absolutely disgusting.
That's what they do.
People need to understand that before they suck on the teat of Greg Abbott, right? By the way, he's aligned with about 6 very powerful Zionists, and that's something that you should check into also. So do not trust this guy. Now, the fact that they said in March is a dog whistle to the immigrants to take the next 3 months and rush the border.
Yep.
Be very clear of the games that they're playing. This has nothing to do with protecting the country. I'm going to give you another example. Election, another piece of shit, Katie Hobbs, for activating 2,000 National Guard on the border in Arizona. She's patting herself on the back. Well, I can tell you because I had conversations directly with the Border Patrol, some on the record, and one of the best conversations I had was completely off the record, so I'm not going to give his name. I can tell you 100%, you know what he said? He goes, well, they're not actually helping us at all. They're cleaning our cars, maintaining our vehicles, and helping process people to get them through the system quicker. Literally does exactly the opposite of what she's proclaiming.
Yeah.
None of them, and I can tell you firsthand, nobody's on the border. The Border Patrol is barely on the border. We had more people on the border in our small group yesterday than all the Border Patrol combined.
Oh, wow. Wow.
More. And guess what? We got to deal with cartel trying to intimidate us and come at us. Thank God that we were very, very, very well armed. And I was taking pictures of them. They're ducking their faces and everything. So that's what's going on the border. From what it appears to us, the Border Patrol spends more time making sure that we don't do anything to the cartel than the cartel not bringing people.
Yeah, well, that was the first thing when what was it? The Minutemen went down there, right? They were turned back by the Border Patrol.
Right.
And these were American citizens that said, hey, the government's not doing it. We're going to go and protect the border. And they threw all them in jail.
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Somebody's asking about the person that's going to run against Governor Cox in Utah. And he's a really good guy. I would suggest you support him. He had the guts to go down the border. And his name is Phil Lyman. Really, really good guy. I don't think he can be officially on the ballot till January 6th, but after that, please show your support behind this guy. He's going to get rid of another deep stater in Utah. But the real quick, while I'm thinking of it, let's give props to some of the people that were on the border. I'm just gonna call them out. They're gonna love me or hate me for it, but Jonathan Alexander organized this, which is fantastic. My good friend Mark Anthony was there, did a phenomenal job at helping protect us. Women never are allowed to go down the border with us because they're our target. But somebody insisted, and she handled herself impeccably, and that was Kim Yater from Salem Radio, went down there with us, and she did a phenomenal job reporting on this. In addition, we had somebody running for governor, Phil Lyman, and a couple other good people with us. So I want to give credit where credit is due. These are the people stepping up and really trying to make a difference and report you the truth, because you're not getting the truth on all your Patriot channels, and I'm going to start calling them Paper patriots. You guys may have been had for a long time. I know. There he goes being controversial again, just calling it like it is. I can tell you, uh, when I was at the AmFest, that there were many people came up and thanked me. Many people talked to me. I've met a lot of people, a lot of very prominent people in this movement. Some are doing good work, some are controlled opposition, and then some I can flat out tell you, I felt like I had a disease because they walked towards me and then they saw me and they immediately ran away. This is more than one time, several times. And I had people there that were noticing, they're like, well, that's weird. They're clearly avoiding Lewis. And then somebody came out to me and goes, well, just so you know, and I don't know the Bible like everybody else, so don't be offended if I get it wrong, but they said there's some verse in there that indicates that evil can see light all the time, and light doesn't always see dark all the time. Somebody in here is going to quote the Bible correctly. So, but I think you guys get the gist. So, it's a good indication to me if they're that afraid of this young old man, that there's something that they're hiding. And these are prominent podcasters, by the way. But believe me, we're showing you guys the markers, what to look for. I'll give you one marker to look for. If they don't open up a chat for you to comment on, red flag.
Yeah, we would never consider doing that. I mean, that's the whole point of this is to have a dialogue. It's to have two-way conversation. We learn a lot from our viewers. We learn a lot from your comments and the things that you share. And, we're always open to being better. If we do something wrong and we mess up in some way, you let us know, and then we make the corrections necessary. We want to take this, Lewis and I are the same. We always want to raise the bar, right? So we've done it this way. Let's what can we do this time? What can we do? What can we do? And always making it a little bit better. So you're going to see quite the progression over the course of time in the show and the content that we're bringing to you. And we're doing better in picking content and getting smarter about, using our time more effectively. It took a long time to figure it all out, but we're working on it, right?
Yep, for sure. Somebody just said, I don't like you hanging around those people, Lewis. Believe me, I don't like hanging around a lot of them either myself. But sometimes you need to go into the den of wolves to defeat evil. So it is what it is. And also, I will tell this, and I was saying this to a lot of people that were around me. There's a lot of controlled opposition at that event. A lot of controlled opposition. Yeah. Roseanne kind of busted some of them, which was kind of cool. She didn't call them out by name, but she live on stage. It's a good thing she lost her notes because she ended up challenging some people without calling out by name, which is cool. But that being said, even though there's a lot of controlled opposition, what I'm telling people to do now, or I'm suggesting, I shouldn't say telling, I apologize. I'm suggesting that you may want to do, which I've been saying for a long time, is just use the controlled opposition to your advantage. Because they do give you 80% and 90% of the information, right? So what doesn't resonate with you, throw away. But don't hang your hat on them, because they will end up going against what you believe in, and they will disappoint you. So just use controlled opposition to your advantage. There's a lot of good things. There's a really, really great speech, and sure enough, at their end, they were promoting a 28-day voting cycle, which is just ludicrous, just disgusting. Somebody else had a really, really good speech, but ultimately, at the end, it was all in for Israel, and everybody that would disagree is a supporter of Hamas, right? So that they sucker you in with this stuff, and that usually it's the last message that's the one that they really want you to grab. So use them to your advantage. Just be aware that there's a lot of controlled opposition out there.
You would imagine, because he's so young, Charlie Kirk, was he 28 years old, a young kid, to be able to put on these large events and have the following that he's got. He's a chosen one, right? They chose him and they said, you're going to be the front face of this, but it's not him. It's not him alone doing this. It's what it appears to be, but it's not him alone. There's quite the organization behind it. So there's going to be controlled opposition. There has to be, because they know they can reach this market, and they want to, cause them to see things a different way. They're gonna bleed into it. Of course they will.
Yep, for sure. I would say two speeches people should watch from that one are Roseanne's speech and Tucker Carlson's speech. And a lot of the other speeches are controlled op or didn't go far enough in my opinion.
Yeah.
And one that I'm talking about pretty well because you've mentioned him several times to me.
Yeah.
And he was weak this last couple of days.
Yeah. So, we have to celebrate the people who do it right and take a stand and step up and are able to bring the truth forward. And, this industry is ripe with people who are in it for their ego, the ego stroke. And it's like, I've never played that game, so I could never be a politician. I can't say, Lewis, I'm going to make this country better. You vote for me and I'll, I can't be talking about me the whole time. Why would I want to do that? I don't even introduce myself correctly when I'm speaking. It's like, I always get criticism for that. It's like, who are you? I don't know who you are. It's like, oh, damn, I forgot to introduce myself. I don't need to talk about me. I'm here to talk about you guys. And Lewis is exactly the same way. And he's here to talk about you and provide you with the information. And it's a very different approach to this world. And I think that's why we have the loyal following that we do. It's because it's not all about us. We never want to make it about us. It's not true of everybody, though.
And speaking of that, somebody has a fair question, and I get this question all the time. Lewis, why don't you just name the truthers that are bad or controlled opposition? Okay, number one, it's my opinion, although I do have some fact-based information on many of them, right? Number two, as I believe in this country and all countries around the world, unless we take ownership and accountability ourselves to take our countries back, it's not going to work. I can't just count on President Trump doing the work or him telling me how to think, right? We have to use our own discernment, and I try to give markers of what to look for, and that's how I try to help. But me calling them out, it'll create drama and division, and that's why I say just use them to your advantage. But just be aware and pay attention. We have a lot of infiltrators into this movement, a lot, and they are repelled by somebody that's doing the right thing.
It's almost like you're shining a light on them, and they don't like that very much. They like to be in their little corner. I've seen it in the broadcast industry. I've seen it before, and it's I know that personality type. I know it well. It's like it's so repelling. On air they're so different. I've seen it in the seminar business. I've seen people step up on stage, and they go into this persona, and everyone loves them, and backstage they wear. Some big names, big people that you would know and respect and love, you would not believe how they are backstage, how nasty they treat people and such. It's just really weird to me.
Yep.
It's one thing that impressed me about Tony Robbins more than anything. It was like he's the same off stage as he is on stage. I'm like, the guy's in integrity. When I hung out with him backstage, he's the same guy. It's not that different.
Very, very, very important.
Yeah, very important.
Very,
integrity
very
is everything
important.
today. Cool. Kellyanne Conway had an interesting. Oh, I had to play that one. That was kind of funny. Jump in their electric vehicles to go get an abortion every morning, right? January 6th. January 6th is all they're on their mind. It after a while, it does feel like a broken record, doesn't it, Lewis?
They don't have anything. That's why.
They don't.
They've got nothing. They really have nothing. So they have to be a broken record. The deep state is falling, y'all. I'm seeing it all the time, and it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Darkest before dawn, yada yada yada. All that's true. And we're seeing it firsthand. But here's one thing that we need to grasp: is we the people control the timeline. Now, I'm not talking about shifting timelines, and we can get etherical in our conversations and have a good time with that. But I'm not talking about shifting timelines. I'm accelerating the timeline. How do we do that? How do we get to the end result quicker?
Right.
It's only we the people. So if 10 people are involved in really in their board of supervisors meetings or their school boards, or they're getting in the face of sheriffs or whatever they're doing, trying to make a difference, or even wearing a shirt with the right saying on it, you know what I mean? Something that impacts somebody, that timeline will accelerate exponentially. So what may be set right now to happen in 10 years could happen in 6 months to a year when we start to activate. So I'm just hoping, and I'm almost getting to a place where I'm so tired and worn out. I'm pleading with people, please just get involved. This is a difference. I'm not asking you to follow me. I'm just asking you to trust me on this one. It's all about we the people. And I know it. And I don't know what else I can say in regards to that. It gets tiresome, to be honest with you.
It really does. But you know what you did really well is you were showing your colors there. I saw that you had the jacket on, you had the sweatshirts on, and the swag really makes a difference when you're out and about in these kind of events.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool jacket, actually. I'm finding out that it's very rainproof. That was cool. And that jacket there has it says Screw Big Gov on it, and it's actually embroidered a beautiful white and gold embroidery. I'm very, very proud of the jacket. It's very nice quality too. It's soft inside, extremely warm. Oh, there you go. And there's a few of them. Me being the fattest one there, obviously, but there's a few jackets. And it's looking good. I'm very, very proud of that.
It
Again,
really is.
Robert found another segue. Good job, Robert.
Well, I want to make sure people have it in time for Christmas, right? In time for the holidays, because they are shipping on time now. Because the first orders took a couple of weeks to get everything formatted,
Yeah.
and I know people are like,
Everything's shipping like in a day now.
yeah.
It's very good work over there.
So I don't know if you'd get it before Christmas, because Christmas is yeah, pretty close, isn't it?
No, they might
Hey,
order today.
I
Order
can't.
today,
I
you may have
could
a
it.
chance.
Yeah, could it really be that close? Christmas is just right here, huh?
Yeah. So, and speaking of that, so I haven't even talked to you, but I'm lining up. I'm going to try to line up a bunch of interviews for next week,
Hmm.
so people can see really impactful interviews of people, maybe some people they haven't seen before, which is really cool, doing great work. Hopefully that will get people excited and motivated moving into the new year. And then you and I can do our work in the background while those interviews are planned. Oh,
Yeah.
you have dandruff, Robert. That's not good.
I got dandruff. I don't know. I had to be a little festive, you know. I got something on the set that looks like Christmas.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Fun, fun, fun. You got to have a little fun in life, you know. Hey, listen, this is what we're about. We're about fun here at this show. So let's just do it. All right. We got a couple more stories, but man, we've been going. It's almost 90 minutes already, and I know you're exhausted. So I think we may just save some of this stuff for tomorrow. You're going to bring us what tomorrow? What can we expect tomorrow? Because you've got all these videos that you've shot. We're going to see some more of those, do you think, if there's time?
All right. Full transparency. I need to get some rest.
Yes.
So I don't know what I'm going to bring tomorrow. My intention is to get some of these videos from my phone to my computer and then to you to post. So there is a process there of some sort. I'm going to do my best to get some of those over, and then we have some very impactful videos right on the border, right there on the border. I may even have three of the cartel guys on one video. I don't quite remember. Let's see if I have them sons of bitches on there.
Cool. Look forward to seeing some of those. I'll get to see them before everyone else because I'll have to edit them and cue them up or get ready for the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anything you want to leave us with? Any words of wisdom before we wrap up for the day, or we're good?
Folks, I really do believe we have this. Just get active, please. Whatever it is. Go to rememberyouroath.com, and what we're going to be doing up there soon is we will actually post action steps to make it a lot easier for people. And by the way, I just came up with that, so I have to write that down.
Nothing like creating on the fly.
But
Usually
I
happens
think
to me in the shower. I can't write it down.
yeah, I don't need that visual. Thank you, though. Well, guys, we love you. I appreciate all your time here. Be back tomorrow, and we're gonna do our best for y'all. We've got this. We the people are gonna take our country back, and you won't have to count on anybody riding on a white horse. We're gonna do it ourselves.
You bet. All right. Thank you, Lewis. Appreciate you. Can't wait to see the videos tomorrow. And thank you, everyone, for watching. We love you. We appreciate you as well. And thank you for sharing the show with your friends and followers. It helps us a lot. And make sure you double check that you are still following us, because I know a lot of people have been unfollowed for some reason. With Rumble has some issues. So just double check that you're still following the channel. And if you're not, just click the button again to follow it. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We'll have